Mistress texted the millionaire at 2 a.m. His pregnant wife was lying next to him. Mia's world froze when she heard her husband's phone buzz at 2 in the morning. The faint glow lit up his face. Oliver Harding, a man she believed was devoted to her and their unborn child. A surge of cold dread rippled through her pregnant body. She didn't want to check his phone, but the fear of secrets gnawed at her. When Mia finally glanced at the screen, a single text message shattered her blissful illusion. In that moment, the heavy truth loomed. He had a mistress. What was supposed to be a peaceful night revealed the hidden cracks in a perfect life. Mia Harding had always considered herself someone who lived a charmed life. Not because she was born into money, she wasn't, but because she believed in love, hard work, and good karma. She and Oliver had met when they were both struggling entrepreneurs in their 20s. Mia worked as a freelance marketer, learning the ins and outs of social media promotion and brand building. Oliver was brimming with untested ideas for a new tech startup. Their synergy was immediate. Mia taught Oliver how to pitch to investors in a way that appealed to emotions as well as numbers, and Oliver introduced Mia to the possibility of dreaming bigger than she'd ever thought possible. Their love story felt like it belonged in a fairy tale. They first crossed paths at a small networking event. Mia was carrying a stack of freshly printed business cards that spelled her name incorrectly, Maya, instead of Mia, because she had run out and printed them in a last-minute rush. Oliver, noticing her predicament, joked that it gave her an exotic air. She couldn't help but laugh, and in that moment they connected over a shared sense of humor and the spark of possibility. Things accelerated quickly. They discovered they shared an obsession with late-night coffee shops. Often, after finishing a day of chasing clients and perfecting pitch decks, the two of them would end up at a 24-hour cafe by the waterfront, sipping lattes and scribbling grand ideas on napkins. Once, they nearly missed sunrise because they were so engrossed in brainstorming what would eventually become Oliver's first successful tech platform. They promised each other that if their careers took off, they would never abandon these small moments together. In time, Oliver's business exploded. His platform for streamlining online payments gained traction, luring big-name investors. Mia's marketing instincts and network connections spurred that growth. Both were unstoppable. A few years later, they got married in a modest church ceremony witnessed by close family and friends, most of whom had been around to see them struggle. It was a testament to love and partnership built on trust, ambition, and sincere devotion. Now, 10 years later, Oliver Harding was a millionaire several times over, possibly flirting with billionaire territory if all went well with the next round of investments. Mia had left the freelance world to become an integral part of Oliver's empire, though they liked to maintain the narrative that they both had built it from the ground up. While Oliver's face dominated the news articles and social media feeds, it was Mia who orchestrated everything behind the scenes. She preferred a quiet life, handling marketing strategies and philanthropic efforts that put the Harding name in good standing. Together, they navigated high society events and philanthropic galas with practiced ease. Finally, they decided the time was right to start a family. Mia was nearly 6 months pregnant when life took a turn she never saw coming. She thought the only big question before them was how they would balance Oliver's hectic travel schedule with caring for a newborn. They were designing a nursery light yellow, unisex colors because Mia refused to know the baby's sex before birth. Everything seemed magical until that fateful night. The plush bedroom they shared was normally Mia's sanctuary. She had insisted on soft neutrals, creamy whites, pastel blues, and gentle greys to keep the environment calm. Their bed, a four-poster with gossamer drapes, felt both regal and comforting. That night, Mia had trouble sleeping because the baby was particularly active. She nestled into the duvet, listening to Oliver's steady breathing. He seemed at peace. In the quiet darkness, she tried to focus on positive thoughts about the future. Then she heard it, a subtle vibration followed by a muted chiming sound. Oliver's phone screen flashed. He turned in his sleep, but didn't wake. Mia felt that familiar swirl of anxiety stir in her chest. Ordinarily, she would ignore it. Being a high-level CEO, Oliver received messages at odd hours. The time difference between his office and the overseas teams made late-night notifications a norm. Yet something about this particular buzz felt different. Mia told herself to settle down. She breathed deeply. But the baby started kicking, seemingly aligned with her own sense of dread. She reached for her phone on the nightstand to distract herself with mindless scrolling, but she had left it in the living room earlier. As she turned onto her side, she saw Oliver's phone glow again. A second notification. Her heart pounded. She clenched her pillow, half ashamed at her own curiosity. She wasn't the kind of wife who pried into her husband's private messages. She had always trusted him. But it was 2 a.m., and something primal tugged at her. She felt an inexplicable push to pick up the phone. Mia reached out tentatively, reminding herself that she was only checking if it was an urgent message from their overseas team. After all, she had every right to ensure everything was okay. Oliver was a public figure. Any crisis would affect them both. As her fingers brushed the screen, the phone lit up, revealing a single name, Isabel Pierce. The preview line read, "I can't sleep, thinking about tonight." Mia's hand began to tremble. She recognized that name. Isabel Pierce was a young socialite who had appeared in a few of Oliver's philanthropic events. Mia had always found her to be charming, albeit slightly too flirtatious for comfort. But Oliver had assured her that Isabel was simply a contact in the philanthropic circuit, nothing more. Now, at 2 a.m., that assumption shattered. Mia's eyes darted to her husband, still sleeping calmly, blissfully unaware that his carefully woven story was unraveling. She pressed her trembling lips together, trying to steady herself. Fear, jealousy, and heartbreak collided in her chest. She wanted to fling the phone across the room. She wanted to wake Oliver up and demand answers. She wanted to pretend she had never seen it. A dozen conflicting impulses warred inside her. Before she could process, the phone vibrated again. This time, the text preview read, "I miss you. When will you tell her?" Mia's breath caught in her throat. The air in the room felt stifling, as though her entire reality had just lost its foundation. She feared the adrenaline surging through her body might harm her unborn baby. She placed a protective hand over her stomach, whispering a silent apology to the little life within. She fought the urge to scream. Instead, she crawled out of bed, phone in hand, and headed into the ensuite bathroom, shutting the door behind her as gently as possible. In the warm glow of the bathroom light, she stared at the reflection of a woman she barely recognized. Her auburn hair was messy, her eyes wide with betrayal. She touched the phone screen again, breathing raggedly. Another text arrived. "Isabel, you said you wanted me to be patient, but I can't share you anymore." With trembling hands, Mia scrolled upward. She saw messages that dated back a few weeks, some with time stamps in the middle of the day, others late at night. Texts that hinted at dinners, secret meetups, undisclosed trips she had known nothing about. Overwhelmed, she nearly dropped the phone. Gasping for air, she locked the screen and set it on the bathroom counter. She closed her eyes, pressing both hands to her cheeks, hot tears streaming down. A single question burned in her mind. How could Oliver do this to her? Through the initial shock, she knew she needed to calm down. The baby was her priority. She took slow, deep breaths. She had never felt more alone. The next morning, Mia woke up, and for a split second, she wondered if the entire incident had been a terrible dream. Then she noticed Oliver's phone wasn't on his nightstand. He must have picked it up at some point in the early hours. Mia's stomach churned when she saw him standing by the window, already dressed for the day in a crisp, tailored suit. His posture was tense. He turned to look at her, his expression guarded. "Morning," he said. placing his phone into his jacket pocket a little too quickly. She swallowed the knot in her throat. Morning. For a moment, neither spoke. Tension hung in the air like a fog that refused to lift. Oliver cleared his throat. I got some texts last night. From work, he lied, the hesitation in his voice betraying him. I need to go to the office early. Mia swung her legs over the side of the bed, her eyes stinging from lack of sleep. She wanted to confront him, but the words caught in her throat. The mere thought of saying, "I know what you did" out loud felt like stepping off a cliff into an abyss. She forced a nod. Right, I'll see you later. He lingered, possibly expecting her to protest. When she didn't, he leaned down, pressed a kiss to her temple, and whispered, I love you, Mia. Then he left the room. She stared at the closed door, knowing his words rang hollow. She reminded herself that she had to stay calm. This was no longer just about her heartbreak. It was also about the innocent life she carried. Her mind raced. She needed time to think, to plan her next move, to figure out if she could confront Oliver, or if she should gather more information. Part of her wanted to pack her bags and leave, but the other part needed to understand how deep this betrayal went. In the hours that followed, she busied herself with tasks. She tried to distract her mind by checking philanthropic event invites, emailing sponsors, and sorting through baby gifts that had started arriving from well-wishers. Each tiny romper and plush toy reminded her of the innocence and purity of a child's love, something so different from the deception swirling in her life right now. Several times she caught herself softly crying, quickly wiping away tears as if wiping away the evidence that her world was crumbling. She decided she needed to confide in someone. So she picked up her phone and called her best friend, Lillian Chan. They had been roommates in college, forging an unbreakable bond. Lillian was now a successful lawyer, handling corporate contracts. If anyone could offer logical advice without emotionally exploding, it was Lillian. Within the hour, Lillian was at the house. She found Mia in the living room, red-eyed and hugging a pillow. Without a word, Lillian enveloped her in a comforting hug. They sat on the couch, and Mia explained everything, how she found the texts, the mistress's name, the shock she felt. Tears streamed down Mia's face as she spoke, and Lillian listened with a stoic, supportive presence. Finally, she offered a tissue. Mia, you don't deserve this, Lillian said. Her tone had the finality of a judge delivering a verdict. He's risking everything, his marriage, his reputation, and he's doing it while you're pregnant. Mia wiped her eyes. I know, but what do I do? Lillian paused, carefully choosing her words. First, you need clarity. You need to know how serious this affair is, and what Oliver intends to do. But don't forget your own power. You're not just Oliver Harding's wife. You're half the reason he's successful. You have as much stake in this empire as he does. Mia's chin trembled. I feel so powerless, though. That's how shock makes you feel, Lillian said gently, placing a comforting hand on Mia's shoulder. You're strong, but don't rush into anything. For now, see what Oliver says if you confront him. Hear his explanation. Maybe there's more to the story. She gave Mia a sympathetic look, though I doubt it. Mia nodded, hugging the pillow tighter. This was her castle, built on years of love and trust. And now she realized the foundation was made of glass. She felt it cracking beneath her feet. The question was whether to salvage it or let it all shatter. A week passed. Mia watched Oliver carefully. He came home later than usual, took more phone calls in private, and seemed distant, as though a part of him was always elsewhere. She tried to bring up the subject, but each time she opened her mouth, fear silenced her. She worried about the confrontation turning ugly. She worried about the stress on her pregnancy. She worried that their carefully curated world would come crashing down. Meanwhile, the messages from Isabel continued. Mia occasionally glimpsed them when Oliver forgot to silence his phone. The texts were never explicit enough to confirm the full nature of their relationship, but they dripped with emotional intimacy. Words like "I miss you" or "I need to feel your arms around me again." Mia felt nauseous each time. She ate less, but forced herself to maintain some semblance of a healthy diet for the baby. Lillian checked on her daily, urging her to have the talk with Oliver. One afternoon, Mia decided she needed a distraction. She drove to their favorite local boutique to browse for nursery items. On the way in, she glanced at her phone and saw an email notification from the charity board she served on. The subject line read, "Upcoming gala planning meeting hosted by Isabel Pierce." Mia almost dropped her phone. So, Isabel was hosting a charitable gala in the next week. Mia's mind spun. She realized that Oliver had mentioned an upcoming gala, casually remarking that he had work obligations that night. He hadn't, however, mentioned the name of the host. A surge of determination coursed through Mia. She decided to attend that gala. She had every right to be there. She was part of the charity board, after all, and she was curious about who exactly this Isabel Pierce was behind the mask of a philanthropic socialite. That might give her the information she needed for the confrontation that loomed on the horizon. With renewed focus, Mia left the boutique and headed home to prepare her attendance. She emailed the organizers to confirm her spot, even though she was expected as a board member. Then she texted Lillian, the first going to the Pierce Gala, "Need moral support. You in?" Lillian's reply was immediate. "Absolutely. Let's do this." The night of the gala arrived quickly. Mia dressed in an elegant but loose, fitting gown that accommodated her pregnancy. She chose a midnight blue chiffon that draped gracefully, a silent statement that she was still the poised, strong wife of Oliver Harding. Her hair was swept into a simple updo. Her makeup was subtle but accented her features with a quiet confidence. Lillian arrived in a sleek black cocktail dress, her fierce aura providing an invisible shield around Mia. They entered the extravagant venue, a luxury hotel ballroom adorned with crystal chandeliers, white floral arrangements, and subtle mood lighting. It was the kind of upscale event Mia and Oliver had attended countless times. The difference tonight was that Mia was on a mission. Across the room she spotted Oliver. Her heart lurched. He was speaking to a small circle of investors, wearing a tailored tuxedo that fit him like a second skin. He held a glass of champagne in one hand. His polished, confident smile, usually her source of pride, now felt like a blade twisting in her heart. Standing near him was a tall, striking woman in a shimmering silver gown. Her long, blonde hair cascaded down her back. That had to be Isabel Pierce. Mia's chest tightened. Lillian placed a hand on her shoulder. "Breathe," she whispered. "You can do this." Mia nodded, exhaling slowly. She navigated the crowd with practiced ease, exchanging polite greetings with other board members and donors. She made her way to Oliver and Isabel, making sure her approach wasn't obvious. She lingered by a nearby table where hors d'oeuvres were being served. She watched as Isabel touched Oliver's arm while laughing at something he said. Mia noted the way Oliver's gaze lingered on Isabel, the subtle tension in his posture, indicating he was hyper-aware of the younger woman's presence. Mia's nails bit into her palm. This woman was no figment of her imagination. She was real, vibrant, and dangerously close to her husband. Suddenly, Oliver turned, and their eyes locked. His expression faltered. He clearly hadn't expected to see Mia here. Quickly, he composed himself and excused himself from the group to approach her. "Mia, I didn't know you'd be attending," Oliver said, forcing a casual tone. He offered a quick glance at Lillian, who nodded politely. Mia held her ground, determined to keep her emotions under control. "I'm on the board, Oliver." "Of course I'm here." Oliver cleared his throat. "Right. Yes, of course. Sorry, it's been so busy. I must have forgotten to mention it." Before Mia could respond, Isabel joined them. Up close, Mia had to concede that the woman was breathtaking, flawless complexion, piercing blue eyes and an air of quiet confidence. She offered a courteous smile. "Miss Harding, it's lovely to see you," she said, her voice carrying a practiced graciousness. She turned to Lillian, giving her an equally polite greeting, then quickly refocused on Mia. "I'm thrilled you could make it tonight. It's an honor to have such high-profile donors supporting this cause." Mia fought the urge to glare. Instead, she forced a polite smile, her tone steely. "The cause is indeed important. I'm happy to support it." Isabel flicked her gaze toward Oliver. A barely perceptible tension passed between them like a secret only they shared. Mia caught it. Lillian must have noticed too, because Mia felt Lillian's hand discreetly touch her back in solidarity. Throughout the evening, Mia observed Oliver and Isabel. They tried to keep their distance in public, exchanging only polite pleasantries when in view. But from the corner of her eye, Mia saw them slip away together once or twice, heading down the corridor or stepping onto the balcony. Each time, Mia felt a stab of pain, but also a cold anger. The illusions were fading. This was real. The mistress wasn't just a name in Oliver's phone. She was flesh and blood, weaving her way into Mia's circle. When the formal presentations concluded, people began to mingle more casually. Mia stuck close to Lillian, who looked ready to pounce at the slightest provocation. Eventually, Mia mustered the courage to approach Isabel alone. She found her near the lavish dessert table. "Miss Pierce," Mia greeted in a tone laced with subtle challenge. Isabel turned, feigning surprise. "Miss S. Harding, is everything all right? You seem tense." Mia took a shaky breath. "I'm sure you're aware that Oliver and I are expecting a child." Isabel's composure faltered just enough to confirm her guilt. "Yes, that's wonderful news," she said, her voice a little too stiff. "Oliver is thrilled." Mia's heart thundered. She chose her words carefully, unwilling to cause a scene, but desperate for the truth. "If you ever want to discuss anything, if there's something you think I should know, perhaps it's better. We speak woman to woman rather than through whispered corridors." A flash of discomfort crossed Isabel's face. The flicker in her eyes betrayed that she knew exactly what Mia was getting at. Then, as if steeling herself, Isabel's lips curled into a tight smile. "I don't know what you mean, Mrs. Harding, but if there's anything you wish to address, perhaps you should speak to your husband first." Mia's calm facade wavered. "I will. Count on it." She turned on her heel and left before her composure broke. Lillian quickly joined her, seeing the distress. They left the gala soon after, with Mia harboring a grim certainty. Isabel Pierce was indeed Oliver's mistress, and she wasn't stepping aside quietly. Later that night, Oliver returned home after the gala, presumably expecting an argument. He found Mia sitting in the living room, lights dimmed, her hands clasped over her belly protectively. Oliver loosened his tie, a storm of guilt and anxiety etched on his face. "Mia," he began softly. She cut him off. "Sit down." Her voice trembled, but it carried a weight of determination. He obeyed, sinking onto the couch opposite hers. A long silence followed. Mia stared at him, remembering all the good times, the trust, the devotion. She forced herself not to cry. If she started, she might not stop. "I know about the messages," she said, her tone subdued but firm. "I know about Isabel." Oliver closed his eyes, a flash of pain crossing his features. He didn't deny it. "I'm so sorry." "Sorry for what? For hurting me? For risking our marriage? For endangering our child's future? Or sorry you got caught?" Her voice grew icy, tears threatening at the corners of her eyes. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees, looking genuinely tormented. "Mia, I never wanted this. Isabel and I, things got complicated. I was traveling a lot, working insane hours, and I felt disconnected. She was there, offering me comfort." Mia inhaled sharply, her heartbreak woven with anger. "Comfort. While I'm here, pregnant with your child, supporting every aspect of your life. You needed comfort, Oliver? From her? He rubbed his face with both hands. I'm not making excuses. I was stupid, reckless. This was never supposed to become serious. She stood abruptly, nearly toppling a vase on the side table. The baby kicked, as if alarmed by her turmoil. Mia placed a hand on her stomach, trying to steady herself, but it did become serious, didn't it? Her voice cracked. You've been lying to me for weeks, maybe months. Do you have any idea how sick I felt, seeing her tonight, watching you two vanish off to balconies and corridors? He stood too, crossing the distance between them. Mia, listen to me. I want to fix this. I made a mistake, a terrible one, but I want our family. I want to be with you. She looked at him, tears sliding down her cheeks now. Then why haven't you ended it already? Why are there still late-night texts and secret meetings? Because I saw them, Oliver. He averted his gaze, shame coloring his features. Isabel, she's not ready to let go. She threatened to go public, to ruin everything if I ended it abruptly. Mia stared in disbelief. So you're telling me you're letting her blackmail you into continuing this affair? He paused, pressing his lips together. It's not that simple. Our business relies on these philanthropic circles. My reputation is everything. If she decides to sabotage me, we could lose investors, deals, everything we've built. Mia let out a bitter laugh. So, now you're worried about your precious image. She clenched her fists. What about our image, our marriage, my heart? Oliver reached for her hands, but she pulled away. His voice trembled. Please, I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Just give me some time. Don't leave me. Emotional exhaustion crashed over Mia. She turned away. Time. You want time? I'm pregnant, Oliver. Time is running out. I can't keep living like this, wondering if you'll sneak away for a clandestine meeting with your mistress. He took a shaky breath. I promise you I'll talk to her. I'll end it for good. I just need a plan to ensure she won't lash out publicly. Please, Mia, you have to trust me. She shook her head, tears blurring her vision. You've destroyed my trust. You'll have to earn it back. Without waiting for a response, she walked upstairs, leaving him alone in the dimly lit living room, a broken man in a broken marriage. Days turned into a tense standoff. Mia avoided Oliver as much as possible while he scrambled to find a way to sever ties with Isabel without igniting a scandal. He reached out to PR teams, lawyers, and advisors, trying to strategize the best approach if Isabel decided to go public. The mansion, once filled with warmth and the excitement of a baby's arrival, felt like a cold battleground of secrets and half-spoken truths. Lillian came by frequently, checking on Mia's emotional state. Mia confided that Oliver claimed he would end the affair, but hadn't yet. Lillian, protective and practical, suggested Mia think about her own security. She recommended Mia consult a family lawyer just to understand her options. Reluctantly, Mia agreed. She met with a discreet attorney, an old colleague of Lillian, who assured her that Mia was in a strong legal position. She could claim a significant portion of the marital assets if they divorced, and she had enough evidence to demonstrate Oliver's infidelity if a public battle ensued. But the attorney also cautioned that messy divorces rarely ended well, especially when so much wealth and publicity were involved. After much reflection, Mia realized she needed a decisive stance. She was done waiting for Oliver to fix the situation. If he truly wanted to save their marriage, he had to prove it. That evening, as the sun set behind the estate's expansive garden, Mia confronted Oliver in his study. He was on a phone call, presumably with another consultant about the Isabel situation. He ended the call hastily when he saw her come in. I can't live like this, Mia said bluntly, crossing her arms over her chest. She had come straight to the point. Either you end it with Isabel tonight or I'm leaving. Oliver shot out of his chair. Mia, No more excuses, she interrupted, her voice resolute. I want her out of our lives. Completely. Then you'll have to repair this marriage if you ever want me to trust you again. His eyes glistened with desperation. I already told you I'm working on it. She took a step closer, her tone unwavering. Work faster. You have until tomorrow morning to tell her it's over, or I walk out that door. Oliver exhaled sharply, sinking back into his chair. He gazed at her with a mix of guilt and pleading. All right, I'll do it. I'll call her tonight. Mia nodded curtly, turning on her heel. She reached the door, then paused. This is your only chance, Oliver. For me, for our baby. Then she left, her heart pounding with both hope and dread. Later that night, as Mia paced in the bedroom, she heard Oliver's muffled voice downstairs. Her heart hammered. This was the moment. Was he really ending it? She took deep, calming breaths, thinking of the baby. She told herself she had to trust that Oliver would do the right thing. She heard the low hum of his voice, but couldn't make out the words. The conversation lasted nearly half an hour. Then, silence. Oliver walked in, looking weary, his tie loose around his neck. He leaned against the doorway. It's done, he said softly. She was angry, furious in fact. Threatened to leak everything to the press, but I told her I'd take my chances. I'm sorry it took so long, Mia. Relief mingled with lingering skepticism. Mia wanted to believe him, but doubt hovered. She nodded, her voice tight. Thank you. Now we move forward, I guess. Oliver crossed the room and gently placed a hand on her belly. The baby kicked, as if sensing the tension. I'll do whatever it takes to make things right, he whispered, tears in his eyes. I'm so sorry. Mia closed her eyes, exhaustion settling in her bones. I know, she whispered back, not sure she believed it yet. But she wanted to, for the sake of their child, for the love that had once burned bright between them. She was willing to try. For a few days there was an uneasy calm. Oliver tried to make amends, spending more time at home, discussing nursery plans, even volunteering to attend prenatal classes with Mia. She saw glimpses of the man she fell in love with, a man with warmth, ambition, and a genuine heart. She allowed herself a sliver of cautious optimism until Isabel retaliated. One evening, Mia was in the kitchen preparing tea when her phone vibrated. An unknown number had sent her a flurry of messages. She froze as she read them. Isabel, your husband is a liar. He's been begging me to keep quiet, but I'm tired of hiding. Isabel, I have photographs. I have messages that prove everything. Isabel, if you think he's done with me, you're deluding yourself. Isabel, you'll see everything on social media tomorrow, unless he comes back to me. Mia felt the walls of the kitchen closing in. Her heart pounded violently. She stumbled into the living room, calling for Oliver. He rushed in, panic evident on his face when he saw her distressed state. She's threatening to go public, Mia managed, her hands shaking as she handed over her phone. Oliver scrolled through the messages, his mouth set in a grim line. I'll handle this, he said, but his eyes flickered with fear. She doesn't have anything that can't be explained, right? Mia closed her eyes in despair. It doesn't matter. A scandal like this will overshadow everything, our marriage, your company, our child's future. And maybe that's what she wants. Oliver cursed under his breath. I'll call our legal team PR specialists. We'll do damage control. I promise. I ended it with her. She's just lashing out. Mia felt the weight of hopelessness. Her perfect life was teetering on the brink of a public, humiliating collapse. She wanted to run away, to shield herself and her unborn baby from the storm, but she also knew that illusions had to die if she ever wanted to build something real again. Within 24 hours, rumors began to swirl on social media. Anonymous tips, cryptic photos that vaguely showed Oliver's silhouette with a blonde woman in a compromising position. It was enough to spark endless gossip. Tabloid headlines screamed about the tech tycoon's secret mistress, although none outright named Isabel or Mia yet. Oliver and his legal team scrambled, issuing carefully worded denials, threatening lawsuits against tabloids for defamation. However, the damage was done. Investors called for urgent meetings. The philanthropic board expressed concern about negative press overshadowing their causes. Mia received concerned texts from friends and acquaintances, all asking if she was okay. Mia felt numb. She'd spent years honing Oliver's public image, presenting him as a dedicated family man. Now that narrative lay in ruins. Each day, more rumors sprouted. Some claimed Isabel was pregnant as well. Others accused Mia of orchestrating the entire scandal for publicity. The noise was deafening. Through it all, Oliver tried to reassure her. "We'll get through this," he kept saying, but he looked thinner, paler, as if the weight of his lies were crushing him. Lillian insisted Mia take some time away, go on a small retreat, but Mia couldn't leave her own house. She dreaded facing the paparazzi who lurked outside the gates, hoping to catch a glimpse of the betrayed wife. One night, after an especially brutal day of seeing her husband's name dragged through the mud, Mia broke down in tears in the nursery. She sat in the rocking chair, staring at the half-painted walls and scattered baby clothes. She felt Oliver's presence before he spoke. "Mia," he said softly, kneeling beside her. "I'm so sorry." She looked at him, her eyes swimming with tears. "I wanted a loving home for our child, Oliver. I wanted security, trust, everything we worked for. And now," she gestured helplessly at the swirling chaos beyond these walls, "we've lost it all." He swallowed hard, tears glistening in his own eyes. "I can't erase what I did, but I still love you. Please believe me." She brushed away her tears. "It's not just about love anymore. It's about whether we can rebuild." "I don't know if I can." Oliver bowed his head. "You have every right to feel that way. Just know that I won't stop trying." As the scandal ballooned, Isabel made her boldest move. She granted an anonymous interview to a notorious online gossip site. She didn't reveal her name, but she shared enough details, times, places, and insinuations to make it obvious to those within their social circle who she was. The site published grainy photos of Oliver entering her penthouse, text messages that indicated an intimate relationship, and hints of hush money offers. Mia read the article in horror. Even though it was anonymous, the entire world would piece together the identities. She braced for the avalanche of speculation. Oliver's PR team worked overtime to label the interview as fabricated, calling the photos misleading. But the damage grew. Some investors froze their involvement, worried about the potential negative press. Rival companies seized the opportunity to undermine Oliver's projects. The philanthropic board wavered, unsure if they wanted Oliver as their figurehead anymore. Meanwhile, Mia felt like she was living in a bad dream. She was hounded by reporters, her phone flooded with calls. She stayed inside most days, curtains drawn. The stress took a toll on her pregnancy. At one of her prenatal checkups, the doctor warned that her blood pressure was too high. She needed to rest and reduce anxiety for the baby's sake. Lillian insisted Mia come stay at her apartment for a while to escape the media circus. Mia agreed, seeing no other option. With Oliver's blessing, she packed a few essentials and left the mansion under the cover of night. She felt a pang in her chest when she kissed Oliver's cheek goodbye, uncertain when or if she'd return. In Lillian's cozy guest room, Mia found temporary solace. She turned off her phone, disconnected from social media, and focused on the baby. She spent her days napping, reading, and practicing light meditation. Lillian, protective as ever, handled phone calls and updates. Occasionally, Oliver would swing by, armed with groceries or small gestures of affection. He promised that the worst storm was passing, though Mia felt uncertain. Then, out of nowhere, an opportunity arose. Another high-profile scandal dominated the news cycle. An A-list celebrity was caught in a huge controversy. The tabloids shifted focus, and the Harding affair was momentarily overshadowed. Oliver's PR team saw their opening and launched a charitable initiative that had been in the works for months. They publicly highlighted Mia's involvement and the philanthropic aims, rebranding Oliver as a compassionate entrepreneur. The negative headlines receded, replaced with neutral or even positive coverage. The respite was a blessing. Slowly, interest in Isabel's story waned. She tried to stir more drama on social media, but the public's attention had moved on. Her final card, an interview naming names, never materialized, likely because Oliver's legal team threatened serious legal repercussions if she broke confidentiality laws or defamed him without proof. A month passed in relative calm. Mia, still cautious and guarded, maintained her distance from Oliver, though she occasionally visited the mansion for baby-related matters. The nursery was nearly finished. Oliver poured his energy into making it perfect, a sign of penance and hope. With the baby due in a few short weeks, Mia made a decision. She couldn't carry this turmoil into the delivery room. She needed peace, one way or another. Oliver invited her to dinner at the mansion to talk. She accepted, mustering her courage. She arrived at dusk, the house bathed in the warm glow of sunset. Oliver had prepared a simple meal. They ate in near silence, both aware of the tension. After dinner, Oliver guided her to the nursery. It was beautiful. Walls painted in soft, neutral tones with whimsical stars and clouds. A sturdy crib lined with plush blankets, shelves stocked with children's books. He turned to her, eyes full of apology. "I want our child to grow up in a home filled with love. I know you have every reason not to forgive me, but I hope we can start fresh." Mia ran her fingers along the edge of the crib. "You hurt me in ways I never imagined." "You broke my trust." He nodded, swallowing hard. "I know. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to earn it back. Therapy, counseling, whatever you want." She studied his face. For the first time in weeks, she sensed genuine remorse and a willingness to change. She took a shaky breath. "Therapy, then? Let's do it. If there's a chance to rebuild, we owe it to our child to try." Oliver's shoulders sagged in relief. Tears glistened in his eyes. He moved closer, and this time, Mia let him cradle her in a gentle embrace. They stood there for a long moment, sharing quiet tears of uncertainty and hope. Oliver and Mia began couples therapy. They delved into painful truths, dissecting the roots of Oliver's affair, his insecurities, the suffocating pressure he felt as a high-profile CEO, the emotional distance that had crept into their marriage. Mia explored her own fears, her tendency to lose herself in Oliver's ambitions, and how she had overlooked signs of dissatisfaction in their relationship. The therapy sessions were grueling, but each tear shed was a step toward healing. They established new boundaries. Oliver agreed to show Mia his phone messages if she ever felt uneasy. No more secrets. Mia learned to communicate her feelings of stress or loneliness more openly. It was a fragile, cautious journey, and both knew they might stumble along the way. With her due date approaching, Mia decided to move back into the mansion. The paparazzi had mostly lost interest, and the philanthropic boards had warmed to the Hardings again, especially with Mia's ongoing charitable work. Oliver's business rebounded as well, buoyed by his unwavering efforts to salvage investor confidence. Late one night, Mia woke to a mild ache in her lower abdomen. She brushed it off as another pregnancy discomfort, but the discomfort soon escalated. She tried walking around, but the pain intensified, spreading around her belly. Realization dawned her baby was coming. Oliver, half asleep, jolted awake to Mia's urgent call. He wasted no time, grabbing the hospital bags they had packed weeks ago. The car ride was a blur of rushed breathing and phone calls to the doctor. Hours later, Mia found herself in a hospital delivery room, sweat coating her brow, tears of pain mingling with tears of anticipation. Oliver stayed by her side through it all, holding her hand and whispering encouragement. In that raw, visceral moment, there were no scandals, no mistrust, just two people fighting through pain and uncertainty to bring new life into the world. After several exhausting hours, the baby's cries filled the room. "It's a girl," the doctor announced, placing a tiny, squirming infant in Mia's arms. Mia sobbed with relief and sheer wonder. Oliver, tears streaming, kissed Mia's forehead, then gazed at their daughter. A profound sense of awe and gratitude enveloped them. In the weeks that followed, the Hardings settled into a new routine. They named their daughter Olivia Rose Harding. The mansion, once a battleground, transformed into a place of midnight feedings, soft lullabies, and hesitant smiles. Mia and Oliver continued therapy. They tackled challenges as they arose. Trust was not rebuilt overnight, but the presence of Olivia gave them renewed purpose. Isabel Pierce occasionally resurfaced in social circles, but her 15 minutes of scandalous fame had faded. She tried to reignite drama through cryptic social media posts, but few were interested anymore. Oliver had severed all ties, refusing any contact that wasn't strictly professional, and even that was nearly non-existent. Mia chose not to engage publicly in any war of words. She had her own battles to fight, learning to trust Oliver again, maintaining her mental health, and caring for a newborn. Every day, she discovered new complexities, the exhaustion of late-night feedings, the rush of love when Olivia grasped her finger, the quiet moments when Oliver would rock their daughter to sleep. In those tender scenes, Mia saw flickers of the man who once stayed up all night with her in a dingy cafe, dreaming about building a better future. Months passed, and therapy helped them reach a delicate equilibrium. Oliver faced his demons, acknowledging that his affair was a destructive escape rather than a real solution to his inner turmoil. Mia recognized her own role in placing Oliver on a pedestal, sometimes neglecting her emotional needs. Though the pain of betrayal never fully vanished, it dulled, replaced by a cautious optimism. Mia began to re-establish her own identity. She returned to marketing consulting on a flexible schedule, finding fulfillment in helping startups, especially those founded by women. She no longer needed to revolve her entire world around Oliver's ambitions. Oliver, for his part, embraced fatherhood with uncharacteristic gentleness. Every evening, he hurried home from the office to spend time with Mia and Olivia. No late-night messages, no secrets. Their marriage wasn't the same as before, but in some ways it grew stronger. It had lost its naive perfection, replaced by a lived-in resilience. They had confronted the worst possible betrayal and found a path forward, albeit a rocky one. For Mia, the biggest hurdle remained trusting Oliver fully. She didn't shy away from voicing her doubts during therapy sessions, and Oliver continued to show patience, hoping to prove his commitment day by day. Despite everything, they found moments of genuine happiness. Mia would catch Oliver cradling Olivia, humming a soft tune, lost in the magic of being a father. She saw the remorse in his eyes melt into determination to be better. She felt gratitude that her child was healthy, that they had the resources to give Olivia a bright future. Love, battered and bruised, still glowed. The story of the mistress who texted the millionaire at 2 a.m. had turned into a cautionary tale within their circle. People whispered about the Hardings' near downfall and subsequent reconciliation. Some ridiculed Mia for taking Oliver back. Others admired her strength and willingness to fight for her family. Mia learned not to base her choices on the chorus of outside opinions. She had found her own reasons for staying. Eventually, the Hardings shared a heartfelt statement with the media, a short announcement emphasizing the birth of their daughter, their commitment to family, and their dedication to philanthropic causes. They made no explicit reference to the affair, simply stating they had faced personal challenges and chosen to move forward together. The measured honesty resonated with many, restoring a degree of public sympathy. On Olivia's first birthday, Mia organized a small, intimate celebration. Family and close friends gathered in the backyard, where balloons and a pastel cake awaited. Lillian was there, proud and supportive as ever. Oliver's parents flew in, doting over their granddaughter. Mia's mother cradled Olivia with tears of joy, grateful her daughter had weathered the storm. At one point, Mia stepped aside, watching Oliver and Olivia from a distance. He was helping their daughter pat a birthday balloon, laughing each time she squealed in delight. A wave of warmth and acceptance washed over Mia. She remembered the anguish of discovering that 2am text, the heartbreak of realizing her husband was capable of betrayal. And now, here they were scarred but alive, forging a path that honored both the pain of the past and the hope of the future. Oliver caught her gaze, offering a soft, tentative smile. Mia returned it. In that look, they acknowledged everything: the hurt, the healing, the determination to keep trying. Life was far from perfect, but it was real, and it was theirs. Life has a way of testing our foundations, even when they seem unbreakable. In this story, Mia and Oliver's marriage shatters under the weight of betrayal, only to reveal a path where love can be rebuilt through honesty and determination. Whether they remain forever united or not, the strength they find speaks to the resilience of the human spirit. We've witnessed secrets unravel, hearts break, and a newborn life spark renewed purpose. Yet through every heartbreak and betrayal, there's a chance, no matter how slim, to heal and move forward. If this story moved you, taught you something, or simply kept you on the edge of your seat, I invite you to like this video, share it with friends who appreciate real-life drama, and subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories. Your support helps us continue bringing heartfelt, unforgettable tales to life. Thank you for watching.